Pruning is an essential part of maintaining a lush garden. For roses, shrubs, and even trees, the same basic principles apply, though rose pruning only differs in method and timing depending on the variety of rose being pruned. Make sure your tools are clean, rust-free, and sharp. A clean cut encourages quick healing of the wound and reduces the potential for disease. You will need a sharp pair of hand pruners for smaller canes, a sharp pair of loppers for larger canes, and a small pruning saw for removing older woody canes. We prune our roses for aesthetic reasons, as well as to encourage and maximize bloom, support and encourage the health and vigor of the plant, and to control the shape and size of a plant. When we prune roses depends on the variety of the rose, with the exception that dead and/or diseased wood can be pruned out at any time. Once blooming roses should be pruned just after the bloom has finished, usually midsummer. Repeat bloomers are typically pruned in the late winter to early spring. Know your rose. Pruning methods vary by type. For example, hybrid tea, shrub, and climbing roses are pruned differently. If you don't know what kind of rose you have, observe its life cycle. Learn its bloom time, bloom length, form, and growth habit. The goal is to open up the center of the plant for better air circulation and sunlight penetration. Use your tools to remove dead, broken, or diseased canes, crossing or congested growth, older, non-productive canes, as well as small, twiggy growth. Pruning cuts should be made a 1/4 inch above a bud that is pointed in the direction of desired growth. Cut to an facing out from the plant center, bud, if possible. The angle of the cut is not so important, but the cut should be as clean as possible. A good rule of thumb is to remove about 1/3 of the height of main canes. Another guideline is to prune the plant back to 1 foot lower than its desired ultimate height. The optimal plant height to produce the most blooms is 30 to 36 inches. If a plant is pruned shorter, it usually results in fewer but larger blooms. Larger blooms are desirable for rose exhibits and competitions. Rose bushes less than 3 years old should be pruned sparingly to allow them time to become established. Preserve as many of the live leaves as possible when pruning young roses. After pruning, strip all the dead leaves and any other pruning litter from the canes and dispose of it to help keep fungal spores and other disease organisms from overwintering the plants. Start with pruning cuts to remove all the dead or damaged canes. Continue with cuts of any suckers growing below or away from the main stem. Then remove any large old canes and very thin elongated canes. Both are less vigorous and will produce fewer flowers. Next, remove any canes that are rubbing on another adjacent cane. Finally, make your final cuts to control size and shape. The overall height will depend on the type of rose you are growing. With proper care, you'll be able to enjoy your roses from season to season. Happy pruning!